Jim, another wrestler making news, or former wrestler, I should say, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, Jim, has a new book she's just written that's about to come out. It's her second book. And this one covers her thoughts and her time in WWE. We have some audio from an interview she recently did. We also have some excerpts from her book.
I must admit I haven't heard any audio. I've seen a couple of the quotes, a couple of the transcripts of a couple of paragraphs, and she does seem quite full of herself and her place in the community, as well as not having enjoyed the WWE and getting a little lippy about some of our favorite personalities there. But anyway, go ahead. I'll follow you.
Well, let's review some of this audio. This is Ronda Rousey on the Never Before Told show. It's on YouTube under the account Live Signing. Jay said the audio is rough, so be prepared.
What are 3 unexpected things people might find about you in rfight.com, or 3 stories they wouldn't necessarily
in rfight.com?
Or in rfight book.
rfight book?
Available on rfightbook.com.
Well, one would be my IVF journey that I had to go through to have Poe. And another would be my concussion history that I had to keep secret for years so that I would be able to continue to compete and perform, as basically why I had to retire. And another thing that people don't know, oh God,
some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah, how much of an absolute shit show it is at the WWE, because I don't have, they can't hold a sword over my head and like hold me hostage with my own career, and I don't need anything from them, and I don't intend on going back, so I can actually say everything that I think and feel, where everybody else that is still held captive by their organization cannot.
Well, there's the first audio excerpt. What do you think of that?
Okay, well, to be fair, maybe I should be devil's advocate. I don't like to play that position. Sometimes I have to. Coincidentally, this was, oh God, what is this? Late March. This was about 6 weeks ago. I happened to have contact with someone who shall remain nameless. I still do have friends and people in high places that I speak to or hear from on occasion. I can't reveal their names. They may be subject to death threats because they know me.
I'll tell everyone who it is. It's Stephanie McMahon.
Oh, quit now. We haven't spoken in months.
They're better friends than you guys know. They're better friends than Stephanie and Andre.
Well, it's because we bonded over Lord Al Hayes. But anyway, the question that I had asked this person who would know in the WWE was, I said, was it always, or was it as hard as it always looked like on this last run to get Ronda Rousey to be into anything, interested in anything, fucking trying something, right?
And this mystery performer responded, yeet.
No, quit now. The mystery individual responded, she didn't give a fuck and wasn't afraid to let everyone know it. And did not think that she had any affection for the business whatsoever and either at that point or potentially ever. After the first couple of times it was a fucking kick to do with her friends. So that's the source that we're considering now here.
Well, beyond her WWE comments, and we have more obviously, what are your thoughts on the fact that she has as she put it, a concussion history beyond wrestling, beyond UFC, but going back to just training, going back to, what is it, judo that she was doing?
Judo, yeah. Well, and I can't dispute. Going back to judo, I didn't know that you can still get concussed in judo, but nevertheless,
you get thrown to the ground, you can get concussed.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking not necessarily striking, but still, yes, you can get bounced around. But I can't speak to that because I didn't see her judo competitions, and obviously in the UFC, although she may have had a number of fights, she didn't spend a lot of time in the octagon. To her credit, a lot of those wins were quick, but I don't know how much damage she took there. But I take it I'm not saying she had never had concussions, but I take with a grain of salt that she could have kept anything secret from this concussion protocol and just their testing. I've heard from numerous guys over the last 15 years as it's become more and more that, Jesus Christ, they test for everything and they check everything, they look for everything, and they run and they hold up things, developmental offers or NXT offers, whatever the case, when somebody's totals aren't right on a blood test or whatever. So wouldn't they have had to, for as much money as they paid her, wouldn't she have had to clear any kind of testing and protocols? So wouldn't that mean that, she's okay? I don't know what else to say.
Again, I haven't read the book yet, either of you, unless she's saying that even if you are someone who's had multiple concussions, there are ways to get around the testing, which is a whole nother discussion. But let's go to this next bit of audio here.
One wouldn't think she'd be the one to figure it out then in that case.
Well, let's go to this next bit of audio here before you insult anyone.
All right.
Here's Ronda about WWE once again from this interview with Never Before Told.
You really pull the curtain back in this when you talk about professional wrestling, specifically your time in WWE. Was there any hesitation about what you share, what went out there? I think people will be a little bit surprised by just how much you, lay it all out there.
I mean, the only thing that really held me back was the number of words I was allowed to have in this book. We were contractually held to 9,000 words, and I was going to talk so much more shit, especially about John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard. But our editor said, we had to streamline everything and not take a detour on the fuck these old bastards quest. So I mean, there was a lot more to it, but I had to basically get down to the meat and potatoes in this. But if anyone wants to ask me about some fucked up bus situations, I'll fill them in.
Well, let's stop it there.
Not a fan of Bruce Pritchard and John Laurinaitis, apparently, is Ronda Rousey.
She wanted more words for a book to write about them.
Well, and there again, she's a first-time author, but I'm pretty sure they didn't sign a contract for 9,000 words for a book. She may have meant 90,000, but I think a pamphlet, you can get 9,000 words. But that's the first time I've ever heard anybody just come out and say, I wish I'd have had more space in the book where I could cuss some motherfuckers more.
Really want to hear what she has to say about Laurinaitis.
Well, I don't think he tried anything with her.
I'm not saying that. Just in terms of scumbag, dealing with slimy people. She doesn't say these things about UFC.
And boy, imagine how much territory that might take in.
That's right.
But they had, the UFC, they had much less control, much less regular contact with their fighters. Do not show up under their auspices 4 days a week to do something or other, whether a house show tour or TV taping dates or whatever. So it's probably easier to deal with management when you barely ever saw them.